My name's Julie Starner, and this is my husband, Mike Starner. We've lived here in Council Bluffs since 1998, and we've resided in our home that entire time, and never had we had exposure to water in our basement until the summer of 2011 with the Missouri River flooding. We have two sons that are 16 and 17, and their bedrooms are down here in our basement.
My name is Dan Thrasher, and I'm the Vice President of Thrasher Basement Systems and Thrasher Basement Finishing here in Omaha, Nebraska. We do basement waterproofing, foundation repair, basement finishing, radon mitigation, anything that has to do with the basement in Nebraska and Iowa. Their house is situated right on the levee along the Missouri River, and over many years of living there, they've had some small amounts of water in their basement and been able to remedy that with some pretty basic waterproofing techniques.
There's concerns whether or not the system would be able to maintain. We started trying to put additional sump pumps in their basement, working there, fighting against water tables, trying to hold back the water.
We did have our Thrasher system in place. The magnitude of the river levels was just too much, and it saturated all the ground and land around our home, and so therefore it had nowhere to go but in every crevice and hole and crack in our basement.
And if you would have asked me before the summer if that was going to happen, I would have said it's never going to happen because it's not going to come over the levee. I didn't think about the groundwater coming up, and that's exactly what it did for the whole neighborhood.
They would have probably been able to keep that somewhat minimal if they were able to leave their pumps running, but the city required that they be shut off. They were trying to prevent the levees from being damaged and to potentially breach, which would have caused a lot more significant damage.
We had to tell them to shut all their pumps off and basically just let the water flood into the basement.
We braced the walls and then turned off the pumps, and the water kept coming in.
In the circumstances, they had no real choice other than to move out, let the water come in, and ruin their recently finished basement where the two bedrooms were, and ruined everything.
And in the end, they ended up having over 6 feet of water in their basement. That's just how much water they were going to be getting in their basement. There's nothing we could do about it.
We were on edge. We were facing the fact that we were losing our home essentially because of the water rising. This is where we've raised our children. Our daughter knows no other home except this house. Once those sump pumps went off, by July, we had to move out because the water was above our fuse boxes. So that was at least 6 feet of water. We had no electricity, we had no hot water. It wasn't safe. So we evacuated July 10th of 2011, and we were out for 5 months.
And then finally we were able to get the water out, and me and Mike met over at his house at one point and just kind of walked through the basement. It was pretty incredible, the devastation that was in the house.
I mean, it was pretty bad. There was pitch black mold.
Virtually every wall in the basement was covered in mold. Mold was on all the walls, just encompassed the whole ceiling. There was mold everywhere.
You know, you could see the water, it just deteriorated everything.
We talked about walking away. We talked about how are we going to recover from this.
We had people say just fill it in and just don't have a basement.
I honestly didn't think we would ever recover our basement and have it as a living space.
I think there are moments in your life where you see or experience something that is different than anything that you've really ever experienced. And the first time that I was in the Starners basement, after working in this type of industry, basement waterproofing and foundation repair, my whole life, this was probably the most catastrophic basement I've ever been in.
I'll never forget when Dan Thrasher stood in that bedroom there and said, you know, I hate to say this, but I think your basement's probably the worst we've ever seen.
I was wading in water in their basement, and it was completely finished, destroyed. And so I think that alone had enough of an impact on me, seeing that, and it just made me want to do something.
They invited my wife and I to the showroom and showed us some options for the basement here, and we actually, you know, were thinking we probably weren't going to be able to do it because we couldn't afford it. And that's when Dan announced to us that they were going to do it for us for free.
The first thing that had to be done was the structural integrity of the foundation had to be recovered. It had settled and was causing cracks in the foundation.
We saw that one side of his basement in particular had settled down about 1.5 inches.
The first step was to remove the basement floor that had been buckled and broken anyway.
We had 12 or so jackhammers running at the same time. We knew that our foundation piers would be able to support that and be able to lift that back up. We're able to lift the house quite a bit back to where we're all comfortable. The floors upstairs are nice and level again. Doors are closing the way they should be.
Then a new drainage system and waterproofing system was all put in. New basement floor was poured. And after that, then the fun part got to start, where we got to actually start seeing the transformation of what it looked like, because the aesthetic part of the job was the finishing. The carpet, the flooring, even the ceiling tiles had to be removed, the drywall, the wood framing, everything. Even the stairs had to be torn out and replaced. We saw this as a perfect fit for us because the basement finishing solution that we provide has a 50-year warranty against damage, even if there's a flood.
They allowed our input at every step of this juncture. You know, what kind of finishings do you want? What color tiles do you want? You know, we got to pick these items out, and for that, I'm forever grateful. It's just amazing. The boys have carpet floors, the living room gets to have the tile floor, and it's beautiful.
So we were able to come in and completely restore the flooring, the walls, the ceiling, everything, and using materials that are not organic, that will not grow mold, that will not be damaged by water, are very durable. Their kids can play down there, they can roughhouse, and they're not going to hurt anything. And that all comes with a 50-year warranty, not just from us, but from the manufacturer of the products. Living along the river where you hope that it never happens again, but you know that the potential's there. What a perfect fit for these products that will last, regardless of what happens.
If this gets wet, we set it out in the garage and let it dry. Bring it back in when we have to. The walls you can clean off. You know, they won't have the mold on them. You know, the ceiling tiles are mold resistant and everything.
A lot of the people that were involved in this volunteer project were people from the office. A lot of salesmen, a lot of office staff were out there, and they helped put in flooring, they helped hang ceiling tiles, fill in putty holes, all that kinds of stuff. So even though they didn't have a ton of experience, we were able to find, you know, stuff for them to do and to make them really part of the team. And it was really nice to see the office staff and our sales staff being out there in full force and really working on this and trying to help out the Starners and give them their house back.
Their kids came down and asked us all to sign the wall with a marker. Knowing we were going to cover it up anyway, it didn't really matter, but the fact that our signatures are behind the walls is kind of fun too.
It was important to me to understand why Thrasher chose us. There's so many deserving people, and I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, why us? Why would they choose us?
Once they found out they had to shut their pumps off, watching someone process that decision and knowing that they're literally letting their house be destroyed, they kind of knew that they were dealt a tough hand, but they were going to be tough and they were going to survive and they were going to get through it, and they weren't really asking for anything from anyone. Just in getting to know them through that kind of gave us an opportunity to step in and say, hey, we'd like to help.
We could really tell right from the start that they were just good, honest people that were going through a really difficult time.
Thrasher really stepped in and made it possible for us to not just come home, but to make it what it was before. We came back home to a place that we felt comfortable and settled.
Our goal was to get them back in their house for Christmas, and we were able to do that.
We actually finished up on December 23rd, I believe it was, Friday before Christmas.
And it wouldn't have been possible without all of our employees stepping up and donating their time.
Got to hang the walls, do some trim and flooring and all of that. It was great to learn everything.
I helped build the wall behind us, and then I also helped with several other walls and gluing and then screwing in the nails.
Everybody came together. A lot of sales reps that aren't normally on the job site came. They did very well, yeah.
Oh, I just want to tell the Thrasher family thank you for all their generosity and their help, and all the people that worked for them, from the people who dug the sand out and helped redo the walls and everything, that we appreciate it, and we're very grateful and thankful.
Can't thank them enough.
We told them that we'd have their back, and just to know that Greg and Nancy follow through with that, and we're here now putting up all these total basement finishing panels, just really says that, you know, that they really care about their customers.
Been a Thrasher 4 years, and pretty much every year we've done something like this.
The Thrashers were generous enough to donate all the materials and the products, and you know, I just wanted to help out with the labor end of it.
Oh, I think it's outstanding that they donate the materials, that the employees step up and donate their time. I mean, I think it just shows how much everybody who works for Thrasher is really committed to helping the community.
Instead of just earning your living from the community, you've actually gone back and reinvested in the community. And that's something that I love being a part of here at Thrasher.
In the end, the reason that we want to give back is because we understand how truly blessed we are to have a company of people that care, to have customers to take care of, to survive in an economy that's not been great for a lot of people. We recognize that that's a gift and that it isn't something that should be taken for granted.